All right, everybody, back with another one. Today we're going to talk about a little bit about the January 6th situation back in 2021 when the protesters were arrested and many of them were jailed for the last 4 years during Biden's term. As you're probably aware by now, Donald Trump has released many, I don't think all, I think some of them were kept because they did commit actual crimes and things like actively attacking the Capitol Police officers that were in the building, or maybe stealing things from some of the congressmen's offices. But either way, I think the majority of them were released and pardoned by President Trump. um, that happened on day one, and then I think some residual people had been pardoned and released a couple days later. So it didn't all happen on day one, to my knowledge. But today we're going to take a look at one in particular person. He talks about his experience, with the whole situation from January 6th to, I believe, being imprisoned. And if you're not aware of who this person is, his name is Joe Biggs. He used to work for the Alex Jones show, and he was actually caught up in all of that. It's interesting, actually. Alex Jones was at that event, and he was speaking that day, and they came after him as well, but they didn't actually arrest him or give him any jail time or criminal penalties for the events that occurred on January 6th. But some of the people that did work with him, they did actually face that backlash. So today we're going to hear a little bit about his story today. Not the whole video probably, but some of it. We're going to listen to his personal experience from that day and maybe some of his experience in prison. Let's take a look at that video now and see what he has to say.
When they wanted to investigate each case, it was a setup, a Fedsurrection, and now Joe Biggs joins us, and we can go anywhere with this. And I want to talk about your case and the other political prisoners still, and got all the time that you can give us here today, Joe, one of the leaders of the Proud Boys. But wow, what was it like? Imagine the suspense for you, because Trump had promised to pardon everybody, and then we know he's a man of his word. Them trying to kill him, what was that like when you learned of it? Then the campaign, then him winning, then the 76 days of knowing they'd try to stop him getting in, and then he gets in, and now we're 9 days in, and he's just delivering big time. I mean, those are my opinions, but we can go wherever you want. But I would like you, at some point, if not now, to just talk about what it was like in there, because the suspense for me was incredible, because our whole future hangs in the balance. But for you, it was 100% clear, wasn't it?
Yeah, I mean, everybody would come up to me and be like, what is it like to have your life dependent upon an election like this? Especially, when so many people were sure that the election was stolen the last time that I met in jail. This is coming from inmates and COs and stuff like that. Everyone said that there's no way that Trump lost that last election. And, they would come up to me and be like, man, it's got to be frightening to know that your future lies at the hands of a corrupt system, because, obviously Trump can beat Kamala Harris hands down, but are they going to let it happen? Are they going to cheat? So it was frightening. It was, yeah, my hair has gotten a lot whiter. That there's a lot of stress that goes on. There's a lot of stress that goes on when you're in prison already on top of that. So just having that, I'll never forget the day that the rally was happening, though, in Pennsylvania. I actually didn't know that was going on. We were on lockdown, and I'd been probably stuck in my cell for going on a month. And we finally got the TV turned on, and I see Trump out there at a rally speaking. And then I look away, and then when I look back, I see everybody around him, and they're like around somebody, and they're moving. And I look at Sully and I go, man, there must be some dumb guy in there trying to start something, pulling that guy out of there. I guarantee you the Secret Service is going to beat that dude up. And then it goes, breaking news, President Trump assassinated, or something like that. And I go, what? And it goes back to a replay, and it shows him drop down to the ground. And I literally screamed, and he's gave out, and I was like, And I fell on him. My cellmate goes, "What is going on?" And I go, "Oh my God." I said, "They just killed him." I said, "No, please, God, don't let this guy die. It's my only way home." Man, I was so scared. I'm so
Joe,
I'm
take your
so
time. This
thankful.
is so powerful. Go back to that moment again, millisecond to millisecond. You know your future, literally, of justice and wronged and the lies and the fraudulent. Everything's hanging in the balance on this man and the American people rallying behind him. And then, yeah, they're announcing he's been killed. And then when they knew they failed, then they said, "Oh no, he wasn't killed. He wasn't shot at." And Google a month and a half later wouldn't even say it happened. So yeah, they were really intending to get him that day. Go back to that moment.
I'm getting goosebumps just thinking about it. I mean, it was a horrible day for me. Everybody came up to me throughout the day and asking, like, checking on me. When they would walk by the cell. "Hey man, hey, what's going on? Do you have any more updates? Do you know what's going on? Have you seen anything?" Or people come up and tell me, "Hey, I think he's okay." So there was a lot of support. But I'll tell you, when I saw that replay and I saw him grab his head and drop to the ground, I sank down to my knees and I thought that was it. I thought my life was over. I thought that was it, and it was frightening.
What was
It
it
was
like?
very scary.
What was it like a minute later when he popped back up?
When I saw him put up his fist and start going, "Fight, fight, fight," that gave me that gave me so much motivation to keep fighting. It really did.
And then the cliffhanger just continues with
I'm just glad.
the campaign and them trying to kill him in Florida. What was that like?
Yeah, I was actually on the phone with my mom at that time, and she goes, "Oh my God, they just tried to kill him again." And I said, "What?" And she's like, "Yeah, at the golf course in Florida." And I was like, "The one that I go to all the time, or I used to go to all the time?" And she was like, "Yeah." I go, "Oh my gosh, like what is going on here?" I just every day I was so scared to even look at the news. After that, I stopped watching TV because I knew that I was going to see up there that someone killed him. And that was it. My daughter would never see her father. And I was so stressed out every day. It was horrible.
Well, I
And
know
then on
you're a
top of that,
decorated combat veteran in multiple countries, but I think it's fair to say Trump is a combat veteran of the deep state and really deserves a Purple Heart. And we've all been under the COVID attack. What was it like being locked up during that? I mean, it just goes on and on. And then now we're winning. We're taking the country back. But
You see, this is why it's so important that the government isn't corrupted and that everybody's doing their job and everybody's following what their actual job details are, right? This is why we have three branches of government. You have, like I've said in the past, you have the president, who is sort of the leader. He puts forth a plan that he wants to see put into action. Congress creates legislature, which is, a bill or a law or whatever, that puts that together on paper and brings it to Congress for a vote. If enough members agree that this is what makes the most sense for the country, they vote on it. The president signs it, passes it into law, and then the judicial system interprets it and puts it into effect, right? Enforces the law as well. And that includes police officers and things like that. It's important that things are interpreted correctly and that the rights of the American people are backed up by the government, because no one should have their freedom, their life, their health, their, future on the line over a presidential election. The federal government has gotten too much power over the years. And I think that's clear. I think everybody understands that now. This is why we had the power in the Constitution belongs to the people, and then the majority of it is delegated to the states, right? The federal government is actually supposed to have the least amount of power. The president is supposed to have a lot less power than they have today. They have influence because they're the leader amongst the rest of the people in government. and everybody looks to them for the plan, right? They look to them for uh, motivation and the incentives to, you know, move forward with whatever ideas they have for the future of America. But Americans' lives are not supposed to be on the line based on who's in office. That's not right. And that's how things have been since the 2000s, really, you know, even before that as well, but definitely more prevalent with the 2000s, where every president, it's a major, you know, are we going to get a warmonger? Are we going to get somebody who's going to destroy the economy? Or are we going to get somebody who is going to try and pass all these agendas and erode the fabric of society? It's always a worry and concern. Meanwhile, this is not how it's supposed to be. The local politicians are supposed to have the most impact and the most, you know, power outside of the people uh, that directly affects you, your livelihood. Things are so political now. They've been so politicized for so long that this event um, was polarizing. One side wanted those people in prison forever and, you know, to suffer the maximum, you know, penalty or punishment for protesting, but then also taking it to the next level, being aggressive and actually breaking some laws. Which, by the way, if you read the Constitution too, we're also supposed to have fair trials. We're supposed to have um, punishments that are fair and just, not unreasonable punishments. You don't get 100 years for a crime that is not detrimental to someone else's life, right? You're not going to get it would not make sense for you to get the same punishment as somebody who committed like tax evasion as somebody who is a serial killer. That does not make sense. That's unfair. Cruel and unusual punishment is actually how it's put in the Constitution. That's not fair. That's cruel and unusual punishment. You would not compare somebody who committed a nonviolent monetary crime to somebody who took someone else's life and stopped them from ceasing to exist, and not to mention negatively impacted their entire family for the rest of their lives, because now they have to live with that. This is not the way that it's supposed to go. These people were protesting, and then they broke into the Capitol building, but there's an argument there that can be made that the Capitol Police allowed them in and escorted them in, and the footage can show that as well. You could make an argument in court, by the way, that the Capitol Police felt they were outnumbered, overwhelmed, and did it to try and keep the situation to a minimum. So some people are saying they escorted them through the Capitol. Yes, but you have to also know the context. The Capitol Police may have felt as though, I'm not going to get killed today for a bunch of protesters trying to break into this building. My life is not worth breaking and entering, right? My life is worth another life. If they're trying to actively kill somebody, I'm going to do everything I can to stop them. And if I die in the process, that's the job I signed up for. But they may have looked at it as diffusing the situation. So you have to really be careful, because some people believe, oh, they led them through the building and it was totally planned. Elements of it may have been planned. And there is stuff that's coming out that shows that federal agents, CIA members, whoever, may have been involved in that as a coup to try and incentivize these people to go into the building to do this very thing for political reasons. So I'm not saying that the Capitol Police or whoever in the government wasn't involved in a covert operation that, you know, allegedly tricked the people into doing this, but they actively chose to do it too. You see, when you're presented with an opportunity in life, you're supposed to avoid temptation, right? Even if something seems like you really want to do it and somebody keeps incentivizing you to do it, if you do it, that's on you. It's not on them, you know? This is why I saw something a while ago about somebody whose parent, you know, was abusing them mentally, not physically, and they got so upset by that that they actually, them and their partner, plotted and killed that parent. You know, that is something that, it's a difficult situation, because yes, they are you being abused, but abuse is one thing. Murder is the next level, right? Abuse, if kept unchecked, can lead to murder, but the abuse is a lesser crime than murder. So when you one up that person by killing them, you're doing worse than they did to you, and you're giving into that temptation. You're supposed to resist that. Now, I understand the situation is different because they're maybe underage and they didn't have as much ability or power or control to get out of that situation. Um, and every case is different. In this situation as well, with the people who broke into the Capitol building, I'm sure that some people were just doing it because they felt it was their First Amendment right to protest, and other people were doing it because they wanted to uh, get likes and follows and stuff on Instagram or TikTok or whatever was trending at the time. And some people did it because they felt this was their revolution. You know, people did it for different reasons. Um, but the government should have treated those people fairly, and the punishment should have been righteous to what they did. It should not have been a blanket punishment. Anybody who was at the Capitol that day is getting in trouble legally, and if you broke in, you're getting this many years in prison. That's not how it goes. It should be based on the crime, and that's where it goes back to our government system needs to work better. The the judicial branch should be punishing people in the court system fairly, righteously for the crime that they committed. And it, if they don't do it that way, this is what happens now. It all becomes political, where they'll let somebody rot in jail for the rest of their lives because it makes a statement and sends a message to someone else. That's not how our system was designed. Our system was designed for um, things to be fair. And it's funny because a lot of people talk about equality and things being equal across the board. Everybody should get a fair chance, a fair shake in life. And what a lot of those people don't understand is that's exactly how our system was designed. Everybody does have a fair chance. Everything is equal across the board. It's not about the person, their character, their race, ethnicity, age, gender, any of that stuff. It's cut and dry. Whatever crime you commit, if it's a crime that is actually genuinely a crime and not something that's been put into law that contradicts the Constitution and your rights, then your punishment should be just for that crime, regardless of any of those other factors, so that it's equal across the board. That's how the system was designed. Just because people are not doing it that way, they're not following things the right way, doesn't mean that the system's flawed. It means that people are flawed because God's perfect and his message in the Bible is perfect, but people don't follow it. That doesn't make the Bible nonsense and God, should be thrown away because, we tried that and it didn't work. No, the people are flawed. They're not following the rules. They're not following things that are the right way and the way that things are supposed to be. So don't, just for people who will go against, saying we need to get rid of the Constitution and redo this whole government thing, or people that are hoping for the revolution so that we could rip everything apart and create a new way of life. We have a perfect system. We have to go back to that and just modify a few things for the current day, the modern day, with um, you know, people who founded this country didn't know about those things because they weren't either invented yet or established yet or whatever. But yeah, it's sad that these people went to prison for the last 4 years, and probably we're going to spend a lot more time there, some of them indefinitely, um, uh, just because of political reasons, just because the government didn't like that the people spoke up against them and stood up to power. Yeah, maybe they did it in the wrong way, but the punishment has to fit the crime. And a lot of what these people went through, it was not just, it was not righteous.
The war's not won yet. I think that's my most important message is we're winning, but we have not won the final war yet, and our enemies could still try to kill Trump.
Yeah, I mean, we're lucky that it's only been two losers that they've just used kind of brainwashed. But what happens when they actually send someone that's an actual trained killer? We're not in the clear, like you said. He's got to remain vigilant. I hope that his Secret Service detail remains vigilant. I hope that everybody's continuing to pray for President Trump and Pete Hegseth and all these other men that are, being brought into the fold right now and learning their new jobs and roles. I pray that these men are guided by God and given the wisdom that they need to make good decisions for our country and for us. And I pray that Cash Patel can get in. I don't even know what's happened with that, to be honest. I don't know if he's been approved yet or not, but I hope that he can get into the FBI and do something, because that is such a corrupt organization. I played Xbox with a guy online, and because I played Xbox with this guy online, after I was arrested, the FBI kicked in his door and about gave him a heart attack. An older man I'd never even met before, a nice guy, and they came in and harassed him and about killed him just from a heart attack. He was so scared because they were threatening him. This happened to almost so many people that I knew. FBI agents coming up to red lights and stopping it and going, "Hey, man, what do you know about January 6th? What do you know about these plans? What do you know about this or that?" And that kind of stuff happened to everybody. So I got scared when I heard that after about the first year, and I just stopped talking to people. And I apologize to everybody out there that I shut out, but I just didn't want people to have to go through what I'd been through and what some of these other people. So I just kind of put it on my shoulders and just dealt with it, for a long time, kind of on my own, and just with the help of my mom and daughter. I didn't want people to be messed with, because I can tell you it's not fun.
And speaking of the media saying Trump needs to die,
Yeah, and that's another thing too. A lot of these three-letter agencies are not elected officials. They're not part of the Constitution as a designated government department that is, officially a part of the government. They were added later on, and the people did not agree on this. This is something that the government installed without the people's consent. So a lot of these government agencies are acting in a way where they have the power. They, if the FBI shows up at your house and there's 10 agents with guns, you're going to do what they say, because you don't want them to do anything that could jeopardize your life or hurt your family. But they're not lawfully allowed to do that. They're not lawfully allowed to do what they do. The sheriffs, that's why we have sheriffs. If you look at your founding documents, the sheriffs are supposed to be the law enforcement for the communities, and sheriffs are voted in positions. These are the people that we're supposed to turn to protect and defend, and there's a reason why they're voted in. It gives them accountability. The people put them there because they chose that person specifically to serve and protect their community. And if they're not happy with them anymore, they can vote them out. These FBI agents, CIA, different departments like that, they are appointed and put in by government officials, and it's like any other job. They get pensions and tenure, and they get to ride and coast as long as they stay under the radar. They get to do their thing and ride it out, and that's their career. And then they retire and they get a pension and they go off into the sunset. And there's no way to really take them out of that position if they're abusing their power, which they don't actually have constitutional power. So it's a really difficult thing. And I think the way that they respond to a lot of these situations, especially something like this, is it's difficult because they're not acting lawfully. But when you go to the courts to defend yourself against them and the actions that they take, the courts are going to side with them, which is, again, why we have a difficult situation here. And it's a good thing that Trump's back in office, because somebody has to correct all this stuff. Somebody has to make sure that the courts are acting in the right way and they're upholding the Constitution, upholding the laws that are constitutionally sound and not ones that contradict the Constitution, and defending the people's, right to a fair trial, right to punishment that fits the crime, things like that. So it's understandable why, people like him go through this. It's a difficult situation because the FBI, the CIA, they're acting in a way where they've been given unlimited power to do whatever they want, and your rights don't matter. They can take any actions that they see necessary to get the desired outcome that they want, regardless of if it goes against our rights as Americans. So that's a huge problem in this country right now. But I agree with him. If Kash Patel gets in, you may see a major shakeup in the FBI.
He's Hitler trying to get crazies to kill him. That's still one of the big threats. Breaking man with Molotov cocktails arrested for murder plot against Trump cabinet members at the Capitol, including Pete Hegseth, now confirmed as Secretary of Defense. The Kash Patel confirmation, Tulsi Gabbard, those are coming up in the next few days. We'll be tracking all of that. But I remember you called the night you got out last week to Darren McBreen, and then he told me, and you said, listen, I'll come on as soon as I can see my daughter, and just I'm in shock right now, and I totally respect that. And you're gracious to be here with us. But what was it like when he won on election night? And then what was it like when you heard that there was the commutation or pardon? What were those moments like? And then what was it like when you actually got out of prison? And then what was it like when you saw your daughter again?
I've become so untrusting. And I hate myself for that. I just don't trust stuff anymore. I didn't think that even that he won that I would ever get out. I just, in my mind, that I've been screwed over so much, and I've been lied about so much, and the government has done everything they can and spent so much money to ruin my life. I just lost a lot of the hope, in a sense, that anything good could ever happen to me. And when Trump won, I still didn't think that anything good could happen. I was like, I'm going to get lost in the system somehow, and it probably won't happen. And then, I get out, and then they go, all right, you're not getting a pardon. You're just getting your sentence commuted. And you also have to do probation. So, it's not been easy. And it's hard for me to trust the government in any kind of way anymore now. I've got so much PTSD from that alone. It still hasn't set in. I still don't feel free all the way yet. I still feel like a prisoner, because I just don't feel normal around people. I tried to go to a party with a bunch of my buddies, and I ended up locking myself in the bedroom for the rest of the night. And while everyone stayed out there and had fun, and I just laid on the bed with my hands on my head. I'm not there yet, and I haven't done any interviews. This is the first one, and you guys have always been there for me. So I really wanted to try this, and I wanted to do my best, and I wanted the first time that I spoke to be with you guys, because I love you guys. But
That's another sad truth too, is the prison system in this country is completely corrupted, and it's not doing what it was originally supposed to do. It was supposed to be a place for, if you commit a crime, and it's not a major crime, you go there to, be isolated away from society and think about what you did, hopefully come out with a new outlook, and maybe don't commit that crime again. If you commit a larger crime where you have to go to prison for a long period of time, it was supposed to be a rehabilitation center, a place where you would be punished and isolated away from society, but there would be a process to help rehabilitate you and get you back into society after you served your time, and hopefully realized why you did what you did so that you could overcome that in the future. What it's become today is a place where you basically get, I hate to say it, but it's true, slave labor at cheap prices, but the American taxpayers pay it, and the government benefits from it. So it really is a very corrupted system. They have so many different activities and things in there that people can do to keep busy and kill the time while they're in there, but a lot of it is just putting them through manual labor that, they are able to produce things that society, mostly the government, will benefit from. But on top of that, you also have a lot of, like, people usually go into prison and come out worse. rarely do you find somebody that comes out a better person, and that usually only happens when they have a Christian transformation, where they have a coming to Christ moment that changes their heart, and now they become a believer. And that's not the prison that does that. That's God. God saves those people in prison, and He's done that all throughout the Bible. But if you look at the way that it's designed, there's segregation, there's gangs, there's the police that work in the prisons are, a lot of them are corrupted, where they allow fraud, they allow all different types of illegal activities to go on. You could easily, it's known that you can pay many of them off to be able to uh, have perks for you as a prisoner, allow you to bring certain things into the prison so that you can run a business inside the prison walls, whether it's selling cigarettes or alcohol or whatever. So there's so much fraud and corruption there. And it's almost designed that way on purpose. But people are not going into prison and coming out better people. So there's something inherently wrong with our system. And the prison population is growing, right? Are people getting better and in need of more punishment in life? If that's true, then that says something about our society that we need to change. Or are people being incentivized to be bad so that they go to the prisons? That's something that we need to look at. Hopefully Donald Trump will do something with this in the future, but I'm a big advocate for prison needs to be a place where people go rehabilitate. And don't get me wrong, there's going to be a small percentage of the population that is just not fit to be in society with the rest of us. I don't think somebody that's a serial killer or, a serial rapist is ever going to be able to rehabilitate and get back into society. At least 9 out of 10 times, that's not the case. Maybe there's a rare occasion where God can heal them. But for the most part, there is a small amount of the population that just is not capable of being with society. And we usually look at those people as psychopaths or sociopaths or whatever, but that's a very small number. Prisons should not be filled as much as they are. We need to fix something in society that's inherently wrong. A lot of it has to do with our belief in God and people going back to living a righteous life of faith and, following the commands of God that He has laid out for us. But there could be things that are done at the governmental level to help people rehabilitate in there, right? Like we do with drug addicts out here in the real world. We have institutions and all different types of companies and therapeutic wellness places set up for people who are, struggling with drug addiction or alcohol addiction, and they go and they spend time, they live in there for 30, 60, 90 days. They spend time doing activities and talking about their problems and getting all that stuff out there, and healing and exercise, and even certain places have health therapies and biohacking, alternative medicine type things that are hopefully going to help clean their body out of those toxins so that they can heal from their addiction. Like there's so many things that we do out here for drug addicts. Why are we not doing these things for people in the prisons? So that's just a little tangent, but it's something that hopefully the Trump administration looks into, because there needs to be a major reformation in the prison system.
This is a process for me, and it's not been easy, but every day I'm trying to get better.
Well, I totally understand the feeling, not anywhere near the intensity you've gone through, but we've definitely partied and drank some beer together and other beverages. But I'm the same way with how intense the country and the world is right now, that I get invited out by really cool, well-known, famous people here in Austin. In the past, I'd even go out with them. But now I'm like, I'm just going to stay home with my family. I'm just going to keep fighting and researching, because it's so intense even still. And I'm not putting down people that want to go out and have fun or go to a comedy show or, go eat a steak with, podcasters or whoever. It's just so intense. And then COVID almost killed my dad. It almost killed Rob Dew. My dad still got issues. So I just spend all my time I have extra with my parents and with my family and with my wife, with my children, because we're in a war. And I think people need to recognize that, not like, oh, we're tough, we're in a war. This is an undeclared war against civilization and against humanity. And I totally get where you're coming from. I mean, just watching the anxiety of knowing what you guys are going through, having an idea of it, has torn me up, nail biting over it. So I'm surprised that even the other guys were able to come on my show and other shows so quickly. I mean, Stuart Rhodes is just tough, man. That guy's something else. And I'm not saying you're not tough. I get it. I I mean, my God, years and years in solitary confinement and all this. I'm just surprised you're so well spoken and look so good, Joe.
Well, I appreciate it. It's just without, there's just been really good people in my life. My mother has been there for me. She's done everything for me. And my daughter has been amazing. For the first 2 years that I was locked up, my daughter wouldn't sleep, without a picture of me, and she would just lay there and look at the picture. And she couldn't fall asleep without it, and it broke my heart. And I'm glad now that, when she falls asleep now, she can look there at me and know that I'm there. She's got PTSD. I can tell, like if I go do something and if I need to go somewhere in the last few days, she goes, well, are you going to come back in like a week or so? And I'm like, no, baby, I'm just going to the store. And she doesn't think that I'm ever going to come back every time I leave.
Yeah, that's really unfortunate that he has to go through that. And, also to think about how does it make a person rehabilitate from a crime that they committed, especially a nonviolent crime, if their family's ripped away from them and they're never able to see them. All it's going to make them do is resentful, be more angry. That's going to build up and manifest into other things, So that's not, at least as far as I can think, um, an efficient method for rehabilitating people who have committed crimes to come back into society. There should be, I don't know about unlimited, but a lot more visitation rights with prisoners, inmates, and their families or loved ones, because those people are going to be the influences in their life. They're going to help them heal from this and hopefully overcome it, come out of there a better person. But if you fracture that relationship with those people over time, even when they do get out, they're not going to have anybody to really turn to. It's going to make them feel isolated, and then they're going to go back into society and be even worse, or do the type of things that they were doing before. This is what happens with a lot of people. They come out and they go back to their old ways, where they try to go find their old people, and they're not the same anymore, and that hurts them, and they end up falling back into their own ways or getting into new things because they just feel so broken and that like life has moved on without them. This is a major problem. This is not something that um, helping people who go to prison or people who commit crimes rehabilitate and come back into society as contributing members. So that's something that hopefully this administration will start to work on fixing. Because there's a lot of companies out there. There's a lot of nonprofits that are in prison reformation. So we need to make things right. And if it's not a corrupted system where it's all just big business, then we need to get to the bottom of how to do things better with that. But anyway, it's sad to see that a lot of these people went through this. Obviously, some of them made the wrong decision by doing what they did on that day. Some of them felt compelled that was their First Amendment right to protest. I don't have an opinion specifically because I wasn't there, but it's good to see that Trump has actually held to his word, at least, because he promised these people he would pardon them, and then he did, or at least commuted their sentences. So that's nice that he at least stuck to that. But yeah, you're starting to see all this stuff unfold, and we're seeing a lot of things happening. At the time of this video, RFK Jr., Tulsi Gabbard, and Kash Patel have not yet been confirmed in their positions, but hopefully will be soon. So maybe we'll do that on the next video. But that's it for this one. Don't forget to like, follow, subscribe, share, all that good stuff. And don't forget to put in the comments what you thought about this video. If you agree, disagree, whatever, it's all cool here. And, anything that you want me to maybe do in the future, topics or specific videos or things you want me to react to or talk about, put all that in the comment section. All right, but that's it for this video. Stay tuned for the next one. All right, everybody, I just want to take a moment to promote my children's book. This is Little Boy Full of Love. That's me on the back. And this is a little sneak peek on the inside. It's a great book. It's a children's book. I actually wrote this for my son. And it's available right now on Amazon, Walmart, Barnes & Noble, Indigo, Bookshop.org, and a lot of other online platforms. But more importantly to me, it's actually available in a lot of bookstores throughout the country. You can find out which ones are closest to you on my Instagram page. You know, we highly recommend that you shop local, buy from a local bookstore. So if you are looking to, you know, get a children's book for you or anybody you know, or even with the holidays coming up, it's a great time to, you know, buy a children's book as a gift. You know, definitely get it from a bookstore that's local to you. But if you absolutely can't get it from one of the bookstores that are currently carrying it right now, and we're in about 15 or 16 different states across the country, so it may actually be in your state, and it could even be local to you. But if you can't get it from the physical bookstore, check out our Amazon storefront. The book's available on there right now. And like I said, with the holidays coming up, you may want to do your Christmas or Hanukkah or holiday shopping early, and you can even order it from our Amazon storefront and ship it directly to whoever you're gifting it to. But it's available on those platforms, Amazon storefront and bookstores and other websites that I mentioned. But I want to take a moment here to look at the storefront just to give you an idea of some other stuff that we have available on there. These are products that we highly recommend. They are things that we use in our daily lives, and it's all organized by category. So it's a lot easier to, you know, shop for the holidays and specifically for things that interest you, particular categories. Available right now, many different items on our storefront. If you can see here, 61 items just in women's apparel, fall decor, because right now we're in fall, 26 items, kitchen items, you know, baking specifically, things for around the house, children's toys, even stuff for parties. If you're trying to save money on a party and throwing your own, you know, occasion, you can even buy some cool gadgets here to help you, you know, put on a better party. You know, health and wellness items here, even stuff for Christmas. And there's the book right there. So you can get it from the storefront. You can get it from the bookstores, like I mentioned. But it's available on all these different platforms. It's really easy to find and gift to somebody. Also, I want to show you the apparel shop, and these are some clothing items that we actually produced. So if you're looking to get some cool apparel items, you know, shirts, hoodies, long sleeve, short sleeve, leggings, even accessories, cell phone cases, women's makeup bags, fanny packs, coffee mugs, all different types of stuff, even some, you know, art, all different categories here, apparel, homeware, accessories, drinks, even digital items. It's all on this store, healthybodygoodssoul.com. Anything that pertains to you or somebody that you're looking to get a gift for the holidays. A lot of great designs on here, a lot of cool designs that we actually custom created. Stainless steel water bottles, especially now with the fall and winter. A lot of cool hoodies and long sleeve shirts. This is a really cool one, I think, for women. The original Be Your Soul apparel, that one's actually really popular. People tend to like that. This one's one of my favorites. The free shirt. It's the American flag and it says free and that says not property of the United States government. That one's pretty cool. Got all different types of tank tops, hoodies, long sleeve, short sleeve, tote bags, coffee mugs, even some items for kids, backpacks. So if you're the type that likes to, you know, plan ahead, I would definitely recommend ordering from the Amazon storefront or the apparel shop within the next couple of weeks to get everything in time for the holidays. Use code SAVE15 on the apparel shop to save 15% off everything on the storefront. So order within the next week or two and you'll definitely have everything in time for the holidays. Definitely check out all the links to everything, the Amazon storefront, the book, and the apparel shop in my bio on all my platforms, Rumble, YouTube, Instagram, Spotify. But you can also find them in all the show notes for every episode that I post and get all your orders in time for the holidays. All right, that's it for this video. Don't forget to like, follow, subscribe, share, all that good stuff. It helps the channel continue to grow. And put in the comments things that you would like me to talk about and make videos on for the future. And I will definitely do my best to do that. Stay tuned for the next one.